So I'm just going to open it up. You have any? Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
而家我哋可以，如果有問題嘅話，大家可以提出。
I have two questions. First of all, you said that the Newport side was going to be fully accessible. Will the Greenwood Ave side be fully accessible as well, or will people need to go around to the Newport side?
Fully accessible, all sides from all angles. Fully accessible.
And my second question is...
Let him.
呢個太太有個問題咧，到時佢話係咪各方面個車站係咪四方八面都可以通達咧？佢哋個答案就係、你哋去到個車站唔係只有一個入口，而係周圍都有入口嘅。
And then my second question was, I happen to live directly across from the parking lot. And I wanted
On Woodbine?
on Greenwood Ave.
Greenwood, okay.
And so, which is the side street.
Sure. Yeah.
So I want to know what you're going to do about minimizing noise. Because as it is, even now, like in the winter time, they use the plows even when it's bare down to the ground, scraping all night long.
So what we do with all of our construction projects is we have parameters where the contractor needs to abide by the local ordinance for the noise ordinance of the local ordinance. So we hold our contractors to that. So I think what you'll see, a lot of the work will be done during the day, so not necessarily at night, especially the loud parts, because I think it's 75 decibels they have to hold themselves to. So what you'll see is the local contractor will try to work as much during the day as they can. But with the tracks and the track outage, we usually do those either at night or on the weekends. So I think some of the large demolition pieces and some of the large, because that's kind of the noisiest, but also some of the kind of early pile driving is usually the loud parts. You'll see that during the day on the weekends. And that'll be a long day. Unfortunately, nice and early as soon as that ordinance allows it to, all the way until dark. But that's the window that they have to use those and maximize those as much as possible.
呢位
Try to be as efficient as possible.
呢位太太第二個問題係提及。
That's the city.
Joe, when they ask a question, can you read?
Sure.
Read it
Yeah.
and
Sorry.
then-
So the question was about noise
Yes.
in the local area. Yep.
嗰位太太第二個問題咧，因為佢住喺車站停車場附近嘅，咁佢個顧慮咧就係、當你工程開始嗰陣時候，所有嘅建築工程車啦，或者係嗰啲聲響啦，會唔會形成一種對佢哋嚟講係一種困擾？咁佢根據呢個先生嘅答案就係、當工程正式開始嗰陣時候咧，佢哋會有開工嘅時間同埋休息嘅時間㗎。咁但係無論如何都會製造某一種形式嘅唔方便，但係希望呢一點大家都能夠互相通用。
You had a question there.
Oh, I think you might have already covered it.
Oh, okay.
But if
Okay.
there's regarding the stairs, at any point where there's new stairs put in or any of that would be accessible by the elevator also?
Or a ramp, or an accessible ramp. Or an accessible ramp. So like on the Newport Ave entrance, there's stairs, but you have an accessible ramp. That's right.
呢位老太太剛才提出嘅問題咧，係唔係有電梯或者係同埋有升降機咧？其實頭先已經講咗，佢會有電梯、有升降機，一切對於殘障人士使用個方便啦，到時新車站都齊備嘅。
My eyes aren't quite what they used to be. One of those slides that said something about after 9 p.m. Monday to Friday. What's that?
So is that, I'm getting
About
this.
4 slides ago.
Single track. So he's asking about 9 p.m., after 9 p.m. and after 9 p.m. So that's what he's asking about.
呢位先生又而家問到就係9點過後嗰啲服務係點樣？因為嗰度係講明係過咗9點咧，就冇嗰個車站就冇開門㗎啦，係嗰度係夜晚嘅，係週日嘅時間過咗9點就就係只係一條單向嘅車即係行通一，就喺 Wollaston 亦係9點過後就冇啦。
So a key component of this is building that center platform, and that's between the two tracks. That's the concrete required to put the platform up and the steel required to put the canopy over. And what the contractor needs is like itching for an 8-hour, 10-hour day to do that. And so what we have used in the past that works really well is when the ridership dips a little bit lower after the evening rush hour, we can stop redline service through Wollaston after 9 p.m. and bus from Quincy Center to North Quincy. And that allows the contractor to have the tracks to work after 10 p.m. to the end of service and then through to the morning. So it gives them a full shift. So what we have is two tools in our pocket. One is after 9 p.m. to either bus from Quincy Center to North Quincy, or if the contractor is not following the track, we can actually go to a single track operation, which means you still can use the red line, it's just a little bit slower because you have to wait for a train to go by and then go. So the headways are about 12 minutes or so, 12 to 15 minutes. So those are two tools in our tool bag. Go ahead and let him finish and then I'll get back to you.
剛才嗰個單軌同埋休息嗰段時間咧，就係俾你知道裝修嘅時間咧，個車站就唔用，但係個鐵軌一樣使用，就係個意思。就你哋搭車上出入都要透過嗰兩個巴士站嚟轉接去 North Quincy 或者係下一個 Branch 嗰個車站嚟上車落車。
So ridership picks up after the ball game, that's awesome. So you go on more shuttle buses, check the schedule, etc. Like you did on the Orange Line from one station.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. We have what we call our track outage meetings every Tuesday afternoon where we go through the Red Sox game. So we take all that into account.
And it runs till the end of the regular schedule.
That's right, exactly. Yep. So
呢位先生剛才提想知道了解一下，萬一你有球賽嗰陣時候乘客多咗又點樣呢？咁設計上計劃上已經遇到呢一點，到時或者佢哋會多啲巴士啊，多啲次數啊之類嚟解決呢個問題。
Just wanted a better picture up there. Audrey's team went to a lot of work to put that together. So. Yes, sir.
I have a two-part question. First off is, how much this is going to cost, and who's paying for it, and is my T going to go up? My rider's T going to go up?
呢位先生提出嘅問題啦，呢個裝修工程要花咗幾多錢？邊個俾啲筆數？到時係唔係車票會起價呢？
This is a $38 million construction project.
呢個係3800萬嘅工程。
That's fully funded through the state. It's basically bond fronted, and then perhaps we'll have some help from the federal government to be able to offset the cost. But that is not directly associated with any fare increases that I certainly know of. That's a whole nother question and conversation that I really can't speak to as far as whether the fares are going up or not. But certainly not associated with the price tag of this. Okay.
個答案就係呢個整個工程咧，就係屬於州政府同埋一部分可能係聯邦上面嘅經費嚟㗎，加上州政府可能發行某一種債券嚟去完成。呢個工程佢嚟支付呢個工程㗎，就呢個工程同埋車票係兩回事，佢哋冇關聯嘅。
Yes, sir.
I'm concerned about the capacity of North Quincy Station. Right now, getting off at Wollaston on a rush hour is a little bit of a cattle run. I'm not confident that there's the capacity there to get off the platform in a timely manner to buses. And you're going to have twice the number of people getting off that same exit.
Yes.
What about getting on in the morning?
And getting on in the morning. Yeah, and these are concerns that we have. Well, oh, sorry. So go ahead.
呢個先生嘅問題咧，或者都係大家所關心嘅問題，就係如果呢個車站關閉咗之後咧，所有嘅人都湧去 North Quincy 啦。咁 North Quincy 平時已經咁窄㗎、咁細啦，而家突然間咁多人湧去嗰度，咁點樣去解決呢啲擠擁嘅問題咧
North Quincy, right? Did you say North?
Yeah, North Quincy, yes.
Yeah. North Quincy. Everybody's
That
saying
is a
North
Quincy
Okay.
Center.
North Quincy. Yeah. So first of all, like I said, we have a couple. First of all, we're aware we have the same concerns. We want to make sure that that isn't the problem. We're going to add more of our customer service agents, especially at the beginning. We're going to make sure that we have whatever support we need from a busing standpoint, and if it takes it, transit PD to make sure that everything stays orderly. And we're also doing quite a bit of mitigation in terms of if it makes more sense to maybe start having folks go to the rear entrance versus the north. Our operations folks do this all day long, and they really can anticipate this sort of thing. And I'm not saying that it's going to be beautiful and run smooth from day one, but that we're certainly on top of it, and we're going to make the adjustments we need to make sure that it works. And I think there's a lot of folks who are, oh, is that too much? Let me just make one more point. So there are a lot of folks, especially in this room, that are making sure that we do that right. So there's a lot of eyes on us. We understand the challenge, and we're going to make sure that people get on and off the train safely.
呢位先生嘅問題咧，亦係佢哋計劃上已經係諗得到個問題啦。咁變咗到時係呢個North Quincy 管理上同埋運作上係佢哋佢會有啲辦法係應對嘅。咁關於巴士啊，佢哋會多派啲巴士啊之類嘅事，係佢哋會盡量去解救呢個擁擠嘅問題。但係佢哋已經係有咗心理準備，呢段事情一定會發生，而且尤其是第一日開始嘅話咧，佢會好混亂。咁呢事情呢啲情況咧，佢係有信心North Quincy 嗰個操作咧，佢會疏解呢個人潮嘅個計劃。
Part 2.
Sure.
Okay. What are contingency plans for North Quincy if it gets too crowded? And then number 2, is it reasonable to say that if we used to get on a Wollaston, we're going to need to plan an extra 10 to 15 minutes?
Yes, I
Under this? So you have to plan a 15-minute tour trip.
And I would say my answer to that is going to be that's about right. 10 to 15 minutes a day.
Extra.
Yeah, so that's taking into account headways and if you actually hit everything the worst, the calculations show about 15 minutes extra.
呢位先生嘅問題就係若果 Quincy 車站過度擁擠，咁你哋有咩辦法解決得？咁同埋個時間差別係點樣咧？就佢哋相信佢會如果事情發生嘅話咧，佢哋有解決嘅方法。咁仲有大家都要有個心理準備，到時呢個車站關閉咗之後咧，你去邊度咧就要多餘15分鐘嘅時間。佢哋已經考慮到15分鐘應該係可以解決呢個你哋由以前搭車嗰條路線，多加15分鐘。
Yes, sir.
I have a question. For the handicap accessible, which I am, is it gonna be like downtown Crossing where you use the elevator, and when you get off on the elevator, as you're getting on the T, you pay as you get off the elevator? Because at downtown Crossing, they have the elevator where you get on from outside, then when you go down, you got the T thing right there.
Oh, okay.
You pay.
Pay first.
Okay, I see what you're saying. At Downtown Crossing, I was
Yeah.
thinking government center for some reason. Downtown
no,
Crossing,
no,
I get it.
no.
Yep, you come down the
You
elevator,
come down the elevator,
and you have to go through the fare gates.
You
Yeah.
pay as soon as you get off. If you don't have a disability T-pad, you can't get in.
Yep. So no, the answer is no. That's not how this station is designed. Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I do.
He's asking if it takes, I want to make sure you can translate it. So he's asking if it's going to take an elevator and that you can only pay if you've gotten off the elevator. It's kind of a strange situation at Downtown Crossing. And that's not happening at this station. So.
呢位先生嘅經驗咧，就係因為佢係屬於殘障人士，咁佢話如果我到時呢個車站裝修好之後開分站，咁我哋殘障人士要上車落電梯由坐電梯上車，咁點樣俾錢？因為佢個經驗啦，喺 Wollaston 啦就 佢要起身出嚟再放錢落去嘅。但係呢個新車站咧就冇呢個問題啦。咁你係殘障人士，你到嗰度嘅就喺嗰、個係仲然坐喺個車度，喺嗰度俾錢咁就通過啦。即係換一句嚟講，唔使起身俾錢再去行。
So I want to make sure I understood your question. I want to answer it fully. So this is an example of what it's going to look like in the lobby. And on the right side, this is fare gates. This is where you pay. On the right side,
Over where Joe is
sorry, what?
orienting.
The parking lot. The parking lot is where my hand is. It's out this door is the parking lot. So you come in the station into what we call the unpaid lobby. You go through the fare gates to the paid lobby. Then you walk down this hallway to the elevator up, bridge over, elevator down, get on the train. So you have to come, everybody has to come through the fare gates to get to the paid lobby, and then there's the elevator, or there's the stairs to get to the train. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I'm talking about,
Oh, sorry.
okay, what if a person's handicapped and they can't walk that far? Like, I thought it was gonna be easier access for a handicapped person.
So let me show you
Well,
that.
there's the other elevator, right where the gates are today, right where the stairs and the escalator are today.
Like for,
There's gonna be an elevator there too, that goes right up to the platform.
Let me answer it for you.
yeah, okay,
So,
so
I mean-
you can pay up there, right?
You pay when you get in. Everybody pays when they get in.
Let me just go through.
Okay, so it's not gonna be, you're gonna
No
have to
free
pay,
ride.
you're gonna have, no, I'm not asking for a
I
free
know, I know.
ride.
No, come on. So let me just explain to everybody in the room how this works. Again, I want to go through this a couple times because I know
Actually,
I look at plans every day, but not everybody does. So I understand that maybe I have to, it's one of those engineering problems that I always run into. So this is the existing lobby as it is today. As if you were going to come in Newport Ave or from the parking lot, you would come into this area here and walk up these stairs. That is the same as it is today with a whole bunch of improvements.
Right.
Go ahead and say that, and then I'm going to have one more thing to
你
say.
哋而家係想解釋殘障人士當呢個新嘅車站裝修好之後會成係點？但係目前你哋見到嗰個圖案咧，中間紅點嗰個就係嗰個嗰個升降機嚟㗎。咁你哋兩邊一個北同一個南嘅入口，中間個匯集點，跟住個紅點下邊就係樓梯落去陽台。
All the same except now fully accessible entrance, elevator in the existing lobby, and another option to get up to the platform on the south side. So basically the same except much better. So accessible, elevator, and a whole nother option to go with the bridge over. So what I believe in my heart of hearts is this is your existing station with a huge amount of improvements, certainly not making the path to the elevator any longer than where you would go to get the stairs today.
Okay.
Okay?
咁當呢個新嘅車站整好咗之後咧，你哋首先講到嘅就係以前舊嘅圖案，咁新嘅圖案你哋見到咧，而家同一個地方，但係咧佢就會多咗電梯上落，後邊又多咗個電梯上落，咁仲有橫邊北門同埋南門啦，都可以入到個車站而落到個月台上面嘅。
Is this presentation accessible online?
Yep, it's already uploaded onto the website. So if you go to MBTA T Projects, Wollaston Station, this is up there.
所有嘅設計同埋圖表，你哋可以喺網站度睇到佢嘅。
我想問一下，即係你嗰個除咗個elevator 上落咧，自動電樓梯有冇上有冇落咧？
So
淨係落樓梯咧，我哋好
嗰度
多老人咧
全部應該
都要個腳唔好，
明白。
你淨係個 elevator 咧裝唔到咁多人。
So when it finished, the customer has elevator also as electric escalator, right? So
Yes, so I didn't mention, yes. Great question. So, yeah, so the question is, we have elevators and escalators, right? Let me just show you here. So the answer is yes, 3 elevators, 2 escalators.
佢一共有3個電梯、3個升降機、2座電梯。
But the escalator has moved from where it is today.
She was asking if there's going to be a down escalator.
Yes.
Oh, so the answer is no to that. So all the escalators in their default go up.
電梯只係可以向上啫，就唔會向落，即係上。
向落嘛。
咁 how about the down?
Sorry, say.
How about go down?
Sorry, all right. Oh, let me just make sure we got the question and the answer here. So I believe what your question is, ma'am, is we do have, so everybody understands there are 3 elevators and 2 escalators. Hello? So there's definitely 3 elevators and 2 escalators. The escalators are used to get up to the bridge. And that's why there's 1 escalator to get up to the bridge from each direction, so both the platform and the lobby. Our escalators are the new design escalators, so they're brand new, and they can go in both directions. But what we found at our new stations is that in the default, they go up. And from an operational standpoint, that's where it's used the most, is going up. The same path has elevators so that we can accommodate customers to be able to go down. But unfortunately, from operational experience, from our experience at our other stations, it's unless it's like, I know North Station has some, I know Government Center has some of our larger stations have escalators that go up and down, but it takes much more space. We don't have that much space on the platform at this station, so we can only have 1 escalator, and when we have 1 escalator, by default, it goes up from an operational perspective. Am I being clear enough?
Yes. 雖然佢有3個電梯，但係在3個電梯因為佢上落嘅層次唔同，佢就只係上就冇落。個原因就係因為地理環境，即係嗰度呢個車站唔夠地方俾佢哋設立又上又落嘅電梯。咁係除咗啲大嘅車站會有呢個方便啦，就Wollaston啦，因為細窄就冇足夠空間嚟去設立又上又落嘅電梯。咁一般個車站咧都係只有上就冇設備落嘅，就佢哋係咁樣解釋。
Does that answer the question? I just want to make sure we got. I just want to make sure we.
Yes, she understood that, but
Okay,
so yeah, the comment is not good.
Sorry. Right.
Do you have stairs going down?
All right, so I'm sorry. One question. Go ahead.
Going down.
Sorry, say it again.
Do you have stairs going down?
Yeah, stairs you can use going up or down. Is that what you mean?
There's stairs and there's an elevator also. The elevator can go down. You won't be forced to take the stairs.
咁在呢個情形之下咧，你哋要上去落嚟嘅話咧，就要可以搭升降機落嚟。
All right, come on over so you can get a question here, please.
第一次嚟講有規劃整呢個Wollaston嘅地鐵站嗰陣時咧，我哋已經提過咯，啲錢係咪講嗰時所以我哋叫我哋叫人家咧有冇整啲廁所提建議而家啲百年大計咧，你就話依家嚟規劃咧唔熱錢咧，所以唔得方便個，所以我哋整下有冇廁所。
Well, the question is because the design is for, as the Chinese people say, for 100 years long. So at the preparation level, we did mention about the bathroom. So we never heard anything about the bathroom in its design. So question is, where is the bathroom and how long the bathroom can last? You know, is it 100 years old?
Here clearly.
So the question was where the bathroom is. So this is existing lobby, new lobby. Walk down this hallway. This is a bunch of utility space. This is MBTA space. There are 2 accessible bathrooms right off this corridor. 1, 2.
哦，你見到係兩個新喺新嘅，你見到啦嚇。OK，得啦。
Okay? Question and answer, okay.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not thrilled. I've been riding the red line since the 60s. I've been riding Wollaston since 10 years ago. I visited a woman that lived in this building, very independent woman, wanted to do things on her own. She could see the red line outside of her window, could hear the out of her window, could not use that because it wasn't accessible. She's long since died. The ADA law came into effect 27 years ago, and you're finally getting around to fixing the station. Even though you did Shawmut Station, which is in a residential area with no parking, but I always kept my mouth quiet because Charles Street was a mess. But once Charles Street was repaired, and then I found out about Shawmut Station, I thought, this is ridiculous. We're surrounded by handicapped, disabled, senior people, and it's just obscene the way the T has treated us. I mean, through Snowzilla, it was ridiculous. Standing in line for over 1.5 hours, my feet were frozen by the time I got to a shuttle bus to get on to go to North Quincy, where I waited and waited to get a train into town. People had to do that day in, day out to get to work. It was inexcusable, completely inexcusable. And the attitude of the T employees was worse. You have customer service agents who are not customer friendly. They have no training on how to deal with customers. Instead, they would huddle together in groups with body language that said, stay away from us, we don't want to help you. I'm sorry, it's true. I temped at the T in your law department for about 6 months in 2014. I know what the T is like. I saw it firsthand. I saw the general manager, I saw Rich Davies. They're decent people, but they aren't on the front lines. The union people on the front lines are who we have to deal with. And they're protected by a union. And there's no one to protect the customers. And it's just disgusting. I'm just out of the hospital. I had my gallbladder removed last week. I can't use the Wollaston station right now because I can't go down those stairs. I'm not trusting the T to my injury. I walked here. I can't even get to the one tonight because that's too far for me to walk. So do you understand how frustrated we are? Okay, so I read this morning. Are you the Joe with the Gmail account?
So the Wollaston Station project at gmail.com.
I mean,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is the deal with the Gmail account? This is the MBTA, right? You have plenty of email accounts. I had never understood that. And then you finally sent me an email yesterday about today's meetings. I mean, you sit on things. It's your attitude, really. I don't know how to express myself.
What to do with the project?
Okay. So, when I found out you are going through with closing the station, and sunlight being the best bleach, I have some
呢位
suggestions.
太太剛才咧就抗議有關佢自己本身際遇上個經驗，就因為佢係屬於殘障人士，佢覺得呢個舊嘅車站係好多對殘障人士係唔友善嘅處理方式，包括喺車站入邊嗰啲服務人員，佢哋根本就掛名係乘客服務，但係其實佢哋完全冇到服務嘅原則，亦冇受到服務嘅訓練，亦唔尊重乘客嘅啲提出嘅問題。咁佢哋覺得呢一方面呢個交通部需要留意呢一方面嘅改善因為佢哋覺得完全俾忘記咗。佢哋根本就唔在乎我哋呢啲殘障人員嘅唔方便同埋個感受。
Okay, so these are my suggestions based on just finding out this morning you're closing the station for 20 months. Express trains at North Quincy. So when we do finally get to North Quincy Station, you stop a southbound train and you let us get on that train and head back north. We don't have to wait for whatever non-room there is on a northbound train coming in from Quincy Center. Because once those condos drop off their residents, you can't get on. I would often have to take the train at Wollaston to Quincy Center in order to get a northbound train to Boston. So I don't see why you can't have express trains waiting for the buses to take us into Boston in the morning. That seems pretty sensible to me. And I want quarterly public meetings like this one. You could have one here during the day, and I would suggest the Wollaston Child Care Center because they've got skin in the game with their customers using the trains too, so that we know what's going on. Because it's unfair to expect us to find out information in the Quincy Sun and the Patriot Ledger the day of a meeting. And then properly train your customer service personnel. I don't think that's a lot to ask. I understand you're going to outsource customer service personnel. That's the plan now anyways. Because, you know, God forbid you outsource management.
Is that I want you to finish there, but can we get a hold of that list and
I'll
make
give it
sure
to
we
you
get a
after.
response?
A frequently updated blog. I'm sorry, I know you're busy, but for the longest time, that page was not updated. It stopped after the last round of meetings, and it just sat there. And then finally, quarterly public inspection of the work site. I think the public has a right to see exactly what's going on and to see if there are problems and nip them in the bud then and not wait until the project is over. And I'd like to be on that inspection team.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, let's go.
呢位太太剛才表達咗佢個不滿，咁佢同時提出就係3個意見，就係第一個意見呢，就係希望能夠有一個專程快車從呢度嘅車站巴士車站可以有一部車直達去 Boston， 就唔使話轉嚟轉去，花咗啲時間。咁其實第二個問題咧，佢提議就係希望能夠呢個地鐵站管理人員啦，要受個特別專業嘅訓練，點樣去尊重乘客。第三個咧就係佢希望一切嘅資訊能夠及時登上個網站度，因為佢發現網站已經好耐都冇修改過，即係冇新嘅資料喺上面。
I don't want to risk ignoring you, but I don't want to try to go through your list and answer each one right now. Yeah, that's great that it's out there, and Trista's got the list, and we'll get answers. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have several questions. When you go a few flights and
Further in.
next one. Okay, that one right there.
Yep.
Which way are they coming in? From the Newport side or the parking lot side?
Through that door is the parking lot.
Okay, so there's only stairs there, right?
The stairs here, yeah, sorry, you can't see it here. There's a ramp that goes up just before you get to the stairs, to the left is a ramp that goes up.
Oh, okay. One other question on that particular, when you come out of there, there's a sidewalk that goes all the way around the parking lot that comes out onto Beale Street.
Yes.
Okay, is that going to be still accessible? Because there's a handicap and, ramp. There are stairs and there's also a handicap way to get up. Otherwise, you're always trying to climb over.
It's not gonna be any stairs. It's gonna
All right,
be even.
so let's.
No, I'm talking about.
No, I think I know the question. So let me ask the question and answer it just in the lobby first. So the question was, this is the parking lot side, and all I see is stairs. What's the deal, Joe? And the answer is that there's a ramp off to the left that you can't see in here that I can show you in the plan view. Go ahead.
呢位太太嘅問題就係你哋見到兩棟企門啦， 嗰度係出去車站度㗎，嗰度有兩個人，後邊有2道門咧係出去車站。咁佢個問題係有冇通道俾啲殘障人士個車可以走上去啦？因為佢見唔到。其實你哋見到㗎有幾搭樓幾級樓梯落嚟，橫邊咧佢有個通道㗎，嗰個通道咧你就可以透過通道，唔需殘障人士用個輪椅都可以行得上去㗎。
So this is where that view is looking this way. And this is where the stairs are. This is the ramp that goes off to the left. So it's kind of hidden behind that CSA booth, but there's a ramp that goes off to the left up to the fair gates.
Okay, and so.
So now I'll answer your other question. Let me just get him to make sure.
你哋見到嗰個箭嘴上面嗰個箭嘴嗰度，佢個手指剛啱指個地方咧，就係嗰個梯道嚟㗎，係俾個車啲殘障人士用嘅車個輪椅走嘅。
Okay. Looking at the new site, so the old site plan, I think you're talking about the sidewalk that comes like this and then up here.
Right, because
That's
then there's a way to get
Onto
out
Beale
to
Street.
Beale Street that
Okay.
has like a handicap.
I failed to mention this in my presentation, and I need to make sure that I get it in there, okay? So this is important, folks, if you missed it the first time. We're going to maintain this sidewalk all the way, all the way around. It's going to be fully accessible, curb ramps, completely ADA compliant. This has become an issue, this entrance onto Beale Street. And the fact is that a lot of folks come across Old Colony where there isn't a crosswalk. And this has been a concern, I think, at all public meetings up to this point. The resolution at this point is that we are no longer going to keep this entrance. We are going to put a fence up and landscape this so that you cannot cross from the parking lot onto Beale Street. Okay? So that was a miss on my presentation that I want to make sure everybody understands. That you can never no longer come across Old Colony and enter the parking lot here. You can come across Old Colony and get on the sidewalk, but there's going to be a fence that won't let you in. And what it's trying to do is get people to stop crossing there where it's very dangerous. So that's point number one. Could you just make that and make sense?
大家留意，而家你見到嗰個地方係目前嗰個車站入口停車場入口嘅地方。以前你哋可以橫過馬路咁直入去呢個車站，咁因為呢個係屬於危險個環境嚟㗎，變咗咧而家新嘅設計上咧，嗰度你哋唔可以再繼續橫過咗馬路就可以透過嗰條呢個地方即係唔可以過馬路就入過嚟呢度㗎啦。咁而係到時呢度咧整嗰度咧會有啲圍牆封住佢啦。你哋一定要佢另外有一條橫邊等你哋入嚟呢邊㗎。以後都唔可以再透過馬路入去車站。
Okay, so now I'm ready to answer your question. I think your question was whether this is going to be accessible all around. And we've actually added another feature here that I really like, which is that you can actually come through the parking lot in a tree-lined sidewalk. So there's a sidewalk that goes through the middle of the parking lot. What tends to happen at Wollaston is people weave in and around the cars to get from, because this is where everybody's trying to get to, right? And they're trying to find the path of least resistance, which is straight there, right? And we tried several different designs to try to twist the parking lot so that you could walk straight diagonally right through the parking lot. The problem is that we just can't get the number of parking spaces back, which we all know we need, right? So what we feel is the best design is to be able to have a safe crosswalk and walk halfway up. So instead of coming around like this, you can now come this way. And I think it's a little bit better. I don't want to say it's the best design because I would love to just make it straight across.
Yeah.
But I think it's the best solution given the site and where the cars are and where people are trying to walk. And this is going to be fully accessible. I think that was your other question. The sidewalk, all the curb cuts and crosswalks. So this tree-lined sidewalk is going to try to make it easier to walk from the station to CVS.
新嘅設計到時正門你哋唔可以直接入個停車場度啦， 咁就但係咧有個好處咧，當你出咗個車站之後，你行去攞車，你去有新設計嘅一條通道，就係呢度啲樹嘅地方係新設計咁，你哋嘅車可以行喺度。咁呢度而家個入口咧，佢都封閉㗎啦，因為以前啲人就係咁樣捷徑係咁行過嚟，咁影響到嗰啲車嘅交通同埋增加危險度，所以以後你哋嘅車停喺呢個地方，就可以透過中間兩邊嚟去行到自己嘅車道。行人道咧，呢度周圍都可以俾殘障人員用嗰啲輪椅嚟走動嘅，咁佢可以透過呢度而出去攞自己嘅車。
I'm just going to stop for a second. We're over an hour that I've been here blabbing away at you. And I saw a couple folks left, so I just don't want to miss anybody. So we have another public meeting tonight at 6:30. It's this presentation over again to just a different crowd and a different venue. But feel free to come again. So that's at 6:30 tonight at the Central School. Like I said, Thursday night is about the Quincy Center Garage. And Quincy Adams Garage is on April 11th, next Tuesday, for other public meetings that are coming up. And certainly, I think we mentioned it, there was a question maybe at some point, certainly between now, and it seems like a lot of folks are, we're all concentrating on that station closure day. There's a lot of work between now and the day we close the station. Certainly plenty of public outreach, especially because your state delegation is going to make sure that we do that. All your city councilors, Councilor Kane, Councilor Kristen Hughes, the ward councilors here, Dr. Chen, all the way through are really making sure that we get the word out and make sure that we take all of the considerations into account. So I'm going to continue to answer questions. I just wanted to make sure that if people start getting up and leaving, that they got that point.
佢想通知大家今晚6點半再有同樣嘅會喺個 Quincy School 度開㗎，同埋佢有其他嘅日子，佢哋盡量多組織咁嘅會談，咁大家可以更加了解對於呢個車站更加了解同埋提供更多嘅意見。
Yes, ma'am.
Questions on the contract itself. Pest control program. Will there be
Okay, so she's asking about pest control and truck routes and processing any construction debris, construction processing on site. Those are 3 questions she has. It's no, yes, no, but go ahead.
呢位太太關心嘅就係當裝修工程進行嗰段時間咧，就會引起好多嗰啲老鼠啦、曱甴啦，同埋其他衞生上出現嘅問題咧，咁就佢哋點樣去處理
？Definitely have pest control. Definitely do not process anything on site in terms of concrete. And the third one, there's what we call a traffic movement permit that we need to get the contractor to put together and tell us, what route they're going to use, and then we need to get it approved through the city. So there's a process there in terms of the traffic. So those should address all 3 of the concerns.
個答案咧就關於嗰啲衞生上嘅問題咧，佢哋會交俾一個衞生處理公司嚟去控制。咁仲有交通上嗰啲建築上呢個裝修公司咧，佢會提出呢個解決嘅方案而透過市府執准許。佢當然佢唔會話會嚴重影響到我哋日常生活嘅。
That's a great question. Trish or Rick Galone? Yeah, if they have written comments, letters, what address do they send it to? Is it to me and I'm
Send it to your email address. That's most prevalent. So you want to get that out now?
Is it an email address or do you want to do it with a hard letter?
A hard letter. Send it to my name, Rick Colon, C-O-L-O-N, Mass DOT, 10 Park Plaza, Suite 4160, Boston, 02116. Okay? Sure. It's Rick Colon, C-O-L-O-N, Mass DOT, 10 Park Plaza, Suite 4160, Boston 02116. Okay?
剛才呢位先生係俾佢個地址寄書信，你哋如果有啲乜嘢問題意見，可以直接寄佢俾佢，佢個地址我記唔到啦，咁就如果你哋需要嘅話，一陣間我同佢再攞確嚇。仲有佢哋有啲網站喺網站上面可以睇到同佢哋聯絡嘅地址㗎，你哋可以上去參考下。
I have two questions. I was wondering, will there be a police control
So the answer is, go ahead. The question is whether we're going to have police will call boxes in the parking lot specifically, because we've had issues with crime in the past.
呢位太太嘅問題咧，係因為過去喺呢個停車場度曾經發生咗啲唔如意嘅事，即係嗰啲搶劫或者嗰啲罪案嘅問題。咁停車場上邊到時會唔會有呢個警報嘅電話？
So the answer is no. We don't put will call boxes, or we're not going to put will call boxes in the current design out in the parking lot. Just as we have our security department that reviewed the plans, and what they came up with was the will call boxes that we put in the station and on the platforms, and then they have security cameras out on the overhead lights. So that would be something we'd have to follow up with the security department on if it's something that is very specific. But that's how the design is written today.
個答案就係到時新嘅停車場咧就冇呢啲警報系統，但係咧喺車站入邊啦，佢有啲緊急嘅按鈴，同埋咧佢會有啲閉路電視嚟去跟蹤呢方面嘅嘢。同時咧佢會將呢個問題轉俾呢個屬於安寧security 安寧部分去參考下，知道下。
I want to give Representative Ayers.
I had a second question, I thought.
Okay, sorry, just a second.
And my second question was, particularly during rush hour, will Wollaston have its own shuttle buses separate from the buses that are transporting people from North Quincy to Quincy Center or vice versa? Because during rush hour, everything gets so crowded, we never have seats.
And I'm just going to tell you what the answer is. That's the best way to do it. So just to be clear, the bus that's associated with the station closure that runs from Wollaston to North Quincy is a one bus shuttle. It's a dedicated bus shuttle. It's not some other route that's running through there.
But I mean, because you're going to have to bring people from Quincy Center to North Quincy. Like they can't be on the train through Wollaston.
This is for the station closure itself, ma'am, for 20 months. The red line continues through the station. So you can still get on the train at Quincy Center and head north and get off at North Quincy on the red line.
Oh, you can.
It's just that you can't get on and off the train at Wollaston. The red line still goes right through.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
I didn't understand that.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
Yep. So do you want to make that point again? Just with the Wollaston station flow, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
呢位太太嘅問題咧，就係因為到時車站停止使用，咁放工嘅時間，嗰啲所有嘅乘客係咪都從 North Quincy 都搭嗰個專程巴士翻嚟Wollaston 咧？個答案就係唔係㗎，因為到時 Wollaston 個車站係停止使用，但係鐵軌仍然從喺 North Station 嗰個 North Quincy 嗰個火車站。透過直經過呢個車站，就佢哋唔需要，佢哋冇得落車上車啫。但係嗰條車一樣咁流通嘅。所以到時咧就嗰個巴士專程巴士咧就係只俾喺 Austin 住嘅居民從 North Quincy 嘅車站一直走到嚟，冇停站嘅。
I want to give Representative Bruce Sayers an opportunity to speak.
Just two questions and a comment. How are you going to address the off-street parking to the surrounding neighborhoods at the beginning when everything's working its way out for some of the neighbors that live by and other people who might try to park their cars in front of someone's home? How will that be addressed?
Yep. So the question was, go ahead. Okay. So the question was, how are we gonna enforce the parking in the neighborhoods around these stations, especially at the beginning when the parking is in flux and people are trying to figure out how the mitigation works. So you want to? Yep.
呢位主管人士佢關心嘅就係當你嘅工程進行嗰段時間，嗰度周邊居民嗰啲停車嘅問題係咪引起糾爭啊，或者係引起擁擠啊，或者係佢哋自己住喺嗰度都冇地方停車呢啲問題？咁呢個答案咧就係到時咧佢哋會增強地方停車嘅管制，即係保障當地居民停車嘅權利。
This is a concern that's come up before, and what we've agreed to is that we'll work with the Quincy Police Department to assist with the Transit Police Department to help enforce the parking within the neighborhood, especially like you said at the beginning when it's in flux.
Second question was, and I just want to see if you can clarify it. Earlier in the presentation, you talked about, of course, the buses will be handicap accessible to take people to North Quincy. Are those buses going to run every time the train would run? So people used to going into Boston for doctor's appointments or other things, they can rely on that train schedule for the bus?
Yes. So you want to answer the first one about the police? Transit police will help Quincy PD with enforcing parking around the stations.
翻轉關於停車附近居民停車個問題咧，佢哋會配合地方個警察同埋呢個鐵路局嘅警察互相配合嚟對呢個停車個規例強加管制。
Yes, and the shuttle from Wollaston to North Quincy while Wollaston is closed is going to run with the red line. So as long as the red line, regular service hours, and we're trying to match the headways of the red line from Wollaston to North Quincy and North Quincy to Wollaston back. So you should be able to use the system exactly the same hours and all that from Wollaston.
And the last is just a comment. So some of the calls that I'm receiving and emails that I'm getting in my office is concerned with the domino effect, with the station closing, with the parking problems, with the limited parking, and the increased traffic down at the Ponset Circle. And you addressed this a little bit earlier, but there needs to be a police detail. I know it's been talked about. I just want to reiterate that to help with the traffic flow, with the help with the traffic volume. And if Marina Bay, Squanah Point Park is a destination, people want to see an alternative means of transportation such as a ferry to alleviate the problem with the Ponset Bridge traffic. We all see the traffic, we all get stuck in it, especially on a rainy day trying to get over the Ponset Bridge.
So maybe the answer to the first question was, okay, go ahead.
關於呢個車站停止服務嗰段時間，我哋搭車由呢個車站去 North Quincy 個車站，佢哋巴士來回嘅時間就係同而家你哋搭火車嘅時間一樣，佢哋配合，所以大家搭車就要順住而家你哋使用紅線 Quincy 呢個車站去 Quincy 嗰個時間表，同一個時間表。
And so, did you mention that we're supporting the plan for the Ponset Circle traffic officer to help with alleviate what the rep's talking about, and also the ferry service. And we're not necessarily adding MBTA ferry service right now, but we're supporting some of the initiatives to increase the Winthrop Ferries service at Squantum Point, and also the Commander Shea Boulevard, which would be a good access out there to Squantum Point. Did you hit all those?
呢位先生亦提到關於呢個車站停止服務嗰段時間骨牌效應，即係佢停止服務，連帶影響其他嘅服務，就包括你哋 Quincy 坐船出去 Boston 嗰啲服務。 咁個答案咧，佢就會配合警察，配合佢哋地方呢個火車局個人員嚟配合嚟調動，能夠疏解呢個問題。
Yes, ma'am. I never saw her. She was waiting for a while. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I've taken so many shuttles that I've grown wheels, you know, and the reality, and I take the bus and the train all the time. Last week there was one day when we were shuttled from North Quincy to JFK, and then we got on the train and they made us get off at Carn Street because it was a disabled train. So that's kind of the reality of how it is right now. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there are a lot of inconveniences. And so I just wanted to understand better the overlap of the fact that we're renovating the Quincy Center Station at the same time that we're doing Wollaston. Because if I go out during the day, then I'm going to take a shuttle bus to North Quincy. And if I go out at night, then I'm going to have to take another shuttle bus.
So, I think I understand your question. Let me just maybe repeat it, and if I'm wrong. So I think your concern is that, well, let me just make this point first. We're not renovating Quincy Center. We're just removing the garage. So Quincy Center operations in terms of the station is going to remain through construction. We're just taking advantage of the weekends when we're closing the tracks to be able to take the garage down. We just reiterate that it's not a renovation of the Quincy Center station. It's just the garage itself. Make that point, and then I'll go to the next.
呢位太太個女戶個擔心點咧，就係因為佢認為Quincy Centre 嗰個工程同埋呢度個工程同時進行嘅話咧，係唔係會引帶起相關發生嗰啲更多嘅麻煩啊、擁擠啊，或者係交通方面係好唔方便嘅事咧？咁佢哋呢位先生澄清就係 Quincy Centre 嗰度咧個工程只係拆除嗰個舊嘅停車場啫，就唔好話更新，冇話做咩其他嘅工作。就Wollaston 只係裝修 Wollaston。